Come on.
Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to the only podcast produced by three two-time winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award. You're tuned into the Check Engine podcast. We are hosted on Anchor.fm and we are streamed worldwide on name your platform. Whichever one you use, we're there. My name is Nick. As per usual, Andrew and Tristan are here for yet another week of podcasting escapades. What's going on, guys?
Well, I won't say that we fell at the first hurdle, but maybe it was the second one. It's true, though. We are on every platform available.
Yeah. People ask me all the time when they find out we have a show. They're like, "Oh, are you guys on?"
Like, don't even have to wait for them to finish and just
yeah.
Yep.
It'd be like that. Hi, Tristan. How are you? I'm good, by the way. How are you?
Hi, Andrew. Hi, Tristan.
I wasn't calling you out. I understand that felt like a call out probably, but it wasn't. I just wanted to know how you were.
Oh, well, I'm good. Hungry. Always hungry.
Well, all right. Let's get through this. Actually,
anyway.
before we go much further, there are two important things that I have to share with you guys. And the first is related to a curse, or what I'm pretty sure is a curse. My wife keeps telling me there's no such thing as curses. So this is really important. In our neighborhood, there are two houses across the street from each other, more or less. And just since the year began, the death total outside that house is more than 15 mice, 2 chipmunks, 3 birds, and 1 rabbit. All dead in the road between those two houses. This has to be the work of a curse, right?
So this is roadkill in front of one house, is what you're saying.
Dead. I don't even know if they were hit by any. Well, I mean, they get run over eventually. But dead animals in the road in varying states of splat.
Do they just have an angry dog at this house that just chases animals around?
A super incompetent bird of prey.
Or that.
Maybe.
Or
okay. I'm somewhat interested in that. But the fact that, I mean, as far as I can tell, pretty much everything that dies just kind of dies in the road and then turns into a grease pile and gets, kind of scraped off by all the cars that drive by. But initially, they're just dead in the road. I don't think the running over is necessarily what kills them, especially the mice. They're just kind of like there.
I can't. I don't think it's a curse. I just think there's an animal running around there. Even if there's not like their dog, like those homeowners' dog, it's maybe there's a coyote that likes that area or something that.
But wouldn't that eat the carrion instead of just leaving it there?
That's a good point.
Because remember, only humans kill for sport.
I mean, unless it is, as you said, Tristan, which I actually quite like, an incompetent owl.
Which isn't far-fetched.
Owl.
Which isn't that far-fetched. Although,
no,
like, in all depictions, everyone makes out the owl to be like super smart. Owls are dumb as fuck. Like, in reality, owls are stupid birds. So
they're wise, but they're not street smart.
Yeah, that must be it. They're book smart.
Yeah, exactly.
They have all the degrees.
All right, fine. If it's not a curse, all right, that's fine. Then you guys can help me with a clue style mystery, maybe. So I think I've mentioned, and this actually does relate to cars. So we'll get now into the topic of the podcast, as we are not a dead animal podcast.
We are not.
God.
I think I've mentioned, I think I've mentioned a house near me that has had some pretty interesting cars rotate through the driveway. And so they have, kind of like a wide driveway where they've poured a slab where they do kind of nose in parking. So at any time there's between like 3 and 7 cars in the driveway. And so here I thought for a while that one very enterprising young man owned a Mitsubishi Evo, a Subaru STI, and a Golf R. But then a 911 GT3 showed up and a BMW M4. And so, all right, I'm now sick of this. It's time to keep track of what cars are in the driveway at one time, because that'll tell me whether it's a bunch of different people or one guy or a couple people rotating through cars. So
are you looking out your window with binoculars at this? Like, are you just the creepy neighbor that's
no, this is down the block. We have to go for a walk in order to see this. So just every time we walk by, I just take a note of what's in the driveway.
Okay.
And am now creating a list where I use symbols to indicate which cars have been seen at what time together.
That's not creepy at all.
This is very normal. What I'm doing is very normal. Everybody does this, I heard. Listen, all right, fine, enough of this judgment. Here are the cars. There's a brown Civic, a white Civic, and a silver Civic. The white Civic is the newest gen. The other two are like previous gen. A blue Elantra, a black Jeep, the purple BMW, a blue RAV4, an orange Kona, a white 911 GT3, a white VW Golf R, a white WRX STI, and a white Mitsubishi Evo.
Damn.
Those are the current suspects. And I think we can all agree that is a stacked garage, regardless of who drives what.
Oh, that's incredible. So do you think he just runs he's got like an out of his house, maybe like a tuning business? Like,
I really don't know, but that's actually a good question, because the STI, the Golf R, and the WRX all have a ton of mods on them. The 911 is the one that really throws it off, though. Like the 911 GT3, that's like a hell of a car.
We'd have Nick go over there, pretend he's from the neighborhood, and just strike up a conversation, because he talks to everyone.
So this is more fun and very normal.
Well, I mean, having Nick pose as an imposter of your own neighborhood is not abnormal, right?
That's what he does in his spare time. He's a neighbor for hire.
Give me an address that's not yours. I'll just drive up and be like, oh yeah, I'm from 714 Minor Lane. Nice to meet you.
Oh jeez.
Yes, imposter friendly neighbor for hire.
Yeah,
I'm your guy.
I like that. You know what? You can probably sell it on Fiverr. Yeah.
You need someone to saunter up to your neighbors to figure out what the hell they're up to? Talk to me.
This is more fun, I think. And so because I don't actually like watch this house and only encounter the cars in the driveway when I'm walking or driving past, I'm just trying to suss out what cars disappear while what ones do you not see at the same time? Because I was kind of like, okay, fine. It's probably just a house where a bunch of people show up and like they're all friends, until the 911 showed up, which is like a serious car. Clearly someone somewhere in that house really likes cars, and I want to know what their deal is.
I mean, you could just go over there.
What's your deal?
Yeah, knock on the door and say, hey man, what's your deal?
No, this is better. Very normal.
I happen to co-host a podcast. We'd like to get your story.
No, maybe this is more normal.
About dead animal. I mean, cars.
Is this the same house with all the dead animals?
No. It is on the same street, though. So something is a little bit sus about that street.
I don't know. Well, that is interesting, though, to see all those cars in one. They're not all there, obviously, at the same time. They've just been like in succession.
That's what I'm trying to see. Look at this. You make fun of me. You call me weird. And then you just want to know what cars are showing up at the same time. Well, let me tell you, that is
I've got a list.
I have a list. I do. And I have some indicators of what cars have been seen at the same time. This is very normal. And I'll keep you guys updated.
Okay. You just keep watch. Do you want
right.
I'll send
The
you like
podcast host doth protest too much, methinks.
This is very normal.
I'll send you one of those golf
Very normal.
range finders. So
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
Just keep an
A
eye out.
lot of people do this.
You should set up a trail cam on like a tree across the street.
I feel like that's where it crosses the line.
Oh, that's where it crosses the line. Not
Yeah.
documenting the dates and times of cars pulling in it.
I'm not writing. I don't do that. Like I said, if I happen to be going past the place and I happen to notice that there's a car in the driveway, then I note it down. If I haven't seen that combo together. This is very normal.
Sure it is.
Fine,
Sure it
whatever.
is.
You guys are no help at all.
Well, no, I don't know why all those cars are there, and I'm hung up on the fact that you're keeping such close watch on your neighbor. So I guess I am no help. Tristan might be
I'm a
able to
neighbor,
help.
it's
I will be of
both.
no help.
I'm
Fine.
generally of no help, so I'm not optimistic.
Fine.
Fair.
Do
What are we
I'm mostly-
actually here to? What's
I
that?
mostly come at him with more questions. Less answers, more questions.
I didn't why and stop.
Why and why won't you stop?
Stop is the question. What'd you say, Nick? Why are we actually here?
Yeah, what are we actually here to talk
Well,
about? What's the
apparently we're
point?
all here to bully me for doing very normal things.
The more he says it, the less normal it seems.
It's
Yep.
very normal. It's not just, it's very normal. No. We are here to talk about something related to my list because it's car paint and it's very important to pay attention to the color of the paint of the car you buy. And
And the car you're stalking in your neighbor's driveway.
that's right, because if it's 2 Golf R's instead of 1, that would be very important. No.
Right.
Not necessarily because it's Pride Month, but coinciding with Pride Month or soon to be Pride Month. We're going to build ourselves some personal rainbows of the best example or our favorite car color for all of the colors that are normally out there. And I think this is going to be really interesting because personally, I found that a lot of my favorite colors actually have nothing to do with the colors I like on cars that I would necessarily buy, if that makes sense.
So you like the color, but you're not interested in the car that it comes on.
Correct. In most of these examples, well, not most, probably about half. But
Yeah, I would say mine's very similar. And there are some that are super obvious that you guys can probably guess, and there are a bunch of others that's like, well, no, my favorite version of this color is on a car I would never buy.
yes,
So-
exactly that. Yeah,
I think I know where Tristan's favorite silver/gray is going to end up.
correct. Yes, I think we all know that.
I think I might actually match him on that if we're correct. So, which ones were the hardest for you to figure out?
I struggled with blue and ended up kind of punting on it and picking more or less 2. Because if you go by rainbow rules, there's technically 2 blues, right? The indigo and the purple.
Yeah, there's
But,
blue and indigo, which is
indigo,
also blue.
correct.
Yeah.
Which is a darkish bluish. But the problem is there are every brand, even brands that don't really do color, make a blue, even if they don't even make a red. Like it's black, it's white, it's silver, and then a blue typically. So
Usually
that
a
means
dark one, but yes.
correct. But so that means there are 11 billion blues with every feature imaginable. And of course that plays heavily into whether or not you like a color, or at least I thought it did, whether it's, a more matte color, whether it's sort of a satin finish to it, and whether it has a sparkle or mica in it at all. And of course with blue, you're dealing with everything. You can find an example of every paint tone, every finish, every depth of color, like a candy blue, a high metallic blue, a flat blue. And blue's such a common and somewhat unassuming color. None of them are really bad.
Right.
So
blue
you just
was
gotta, yeah.
blue was one of the tougher ones for me, and honestly, black was really hard because it's black.
Oh, black! I knew exactly what I wanted. Black was probably my easiest one, to be honest.
It was hard for me because I do like a lot of black cars, and whether it's matte
funny.
or pearl or whatever, it just doesn't necessarily matter. Like if it
Sure.
just looks good on the car. So I'm like looking around, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, I gotta pick one of these. Shit.
Yeah, no, I get that. What about you,
So,
Tristan?
Brown,
Brown.
because there weren't any. I hate all
Yeah,
of them.
there was one
didn't we
immediately I knew.
segment? Didn't we qualify that? What it was like? It's brown or beige.
Yeah, that sort of that tone, that earthy tone.
Colors you could find in dirt.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, anyways, I guess
We're gonna dive into that, but really before we get into that, can we just acknowledge that this upcoming weekend, as we record this, is the greatest weekend of motorsports of the calendar year?
So I hear every year.
I mean, it's coming up again. It's better than Christmas, Memorial Day, Sunday. Monaco starts the day. You have your coffee, watching F1 at Monaco, which in reality is mostly pretty boring. But then you move to the Indy 500, which is the greatest race in the world. At me, it's true. And then you finish with the Coke 600 NASCAR at Charlotte later that evening. Scott Dixon just set the second quickest qualifying average in the history of the Speedway to get his fifth pole position for the race. So I'm fired up. My man is at the front where you want to be to start this thing, but it is 500 miles. Mm-hmm. So you can argue that he's had the best car there the last 2 years running and came up empty both times. So speed doesn't actually, just raw speed rarely equates to a victory there. So we'll see what happens, but he was hauling ass.
Yeah, was his average 234?
Just a shade over 234 in 4 laps.
Something like that. Yeah.
So I was watching pole day, and his teammate goes out and sets an average of like another really good average. It was like 233 and a half or something like that. And how that works, by the third or fourth lap, the speed is kind of starting to drop relative to obviously your first lap because, tires are degrading, all that kind of stuff. And you start to slide around a little bit more. So like even, his 4 lap average was like 233 and a half, we'll call it. And then Dixon goes out. His first lap is a 234.8. And my buddy just texts mercy.
Mercy.
Sweet Jesus, look at him go.
That's fast. That's big speed.
Big time speed. They were quick all week. Connor Daly got the highest speed trap like in the history of the Speedway 2 days or the day before. He had a hell of a tailwind down the back straightaway, but they clocked him at 243.7 going into turn 3.
That is very fast.
Very fast. They are moving at Indianapolis this year, so it's gonna be a fun watch.
What are we looking at for weather?
Last I checked, it was supposed to be, knock on wood, 85 and very little cloud cover and like 10 to 20% chance of rain. So
sure.
Looking pretty favorable right now. But it's Indiana in May, so you never really know.
Sure.
It probably means there's going to be a tornado.
Wow. I mean, that would be bad. So let's hope not that.
But we're prepared for anything. We'll handle it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so folks, if you are at all interested in motorsports or you're just curious, this weekend would be the weekend to tune in. You're not going to see a day any better than this. Some might say the 24 Hours of Le Mans weekend because it's Saturday and Sunday for one race. But it's close, but it's not Memorial Day.
Wow. So I was just checking the F1 point standings. Damn.
I believe Verstappen's right back in it, isn't he?
Verstappen is right back in it with his 4 wins.
4 wins and 2 DNFs. When he finishes, he wins.
Yeah, exactly. 4 wins.
Talk about an average.
Yeah, that's crazy. Leclerc in second, Perez in third, George Russell in fourth, and then the point drop offs really start. I mean, so it's 110 for Verstappen. George Russell's at 74. Sainz is 65, and then Hamilton way down in 6th with 46 points. So it's like there's some closeness at the top, and then it's really dropping off.
Mercedes looked like they really improved. Whatever upgrades they brought to Spain this past weekend seemed to help.
That's true.
They were at least in the ballpark. And say what you want about how shitty the Mercedes car has been up to that point. George Russell is still the only person to finish in the top 5 in every single race this year.
That's a good point.
He's making a very, very good first impression with the Mercedes team.
True that.
So,
I mean, if this trajectory keeps up, let's say Hamilton doesn't even finish outside the top 5, but Russell finishes ahead of him. What happens? What do they do?
I don't think they do anything. I think they're very happy that they have 2 really capable drivers. I mean, with all he's given you, you're not going to start second guessing Hamilton after 1 year in a brand new rules package.
I mean, I guess, but
with a car that's completely different to drive.
That's true, I guess. I don't know. It just feels, maybe it's because of the new rules package. Maybe it's because of the new everything else. It feels end of era-ish in a way that it didn't necessarily last year. And maybe you can blame that on the championship and just how that all went down, and the fact that really no one at F1 actually got punished for genuinely fucking the title. Like they actually screwed that up in a completely intractable way.
Well, I mean, the race director got fired, so there was that.
Not enough. just not enough. I think you can say that objectively, whether or not you're a Verstappen fan or a Hamilton fan. That's not enough punishment for actually influencing the outcome of a race in a very, very meaningful and obvious way, instantly obvious. Even if you're like me and didn't really know the rules of F1, probably if you're just a person who'd never seen a race before, you know that was very sus.
Wait a minute.
Because the commentators were literally going, what's happening? We don't know. But they're letting some through, but like their live reactions were that everything had gone wrong. And again, you're probably right. Probably nothing changes. Nothing at Mercedes would change. You know what I mean? There's no team changes. They keep George. They keep Lewis. And they roll into next year and probably dominate like you would expect.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. But I'm not giving up on Lewis just yet.
Oh, no, I'm not giving up on Lewis. I'm just wondering if at what point, what would it take for Mercedes to get anxious? Because it's not like F1. F1's not the sport where legends in the sport itself stick on a team. They'll punt them off. They don't care. They get a younger driver, a hot new driver. They'll punt the legend and let him race at the Alpha for 10 more years. You know what I mean? It's not that kind of sport.
Yeah, but they've never done it with someone with these credentials. Like Vettel left Red Bull for Ferrari. Red Bull didn't necessarily kick him out. Alonso left Renault for McLaren, which turned out to be a shitty move because that was the year that Hamilton came in. Yeah. And they were not good teammates. I feel like as long as Hamilton wants to race, Mercedes is going to offer him a seat. You don't just let the guy who's won 7 championships and 100 Grand Prix just walk.
I mean,
unless he tells you, I'm going to walk, I'm going to retire, and there's nothing you can do to talk me out of it.
I mean, to use a very shitty, not remotely relatable comparison, though, they did it to Brady. The Pats did it to Brady.
Belichick is a different character.
Yeah, you're probably right. Although, I mean, maybe it's that sort of numeric, mechanical, numbers focused thing is actually a better comparison to F1 than sort of a,
yeah, you're actually
thing.
You're probably closer on that than you thought you were when you first made that analogy up.
Could be. I don't know.
But I would still say Belichick's a different dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's dive into this color thing.
Sure.
Paint colors. Sure. Do you want to remind people where to get a hold of us before we dive into that?
Sure. Yeah. Find us on Twitter at CheckEnginePod.
Find us on Facebook by searching Check Engine Podcast. Tristan, what about Insta?
Also at Check Engine Pod. Hopefully you guys have images of your paint colors. I'll be
Mhm.
trying to chop them up and turn them into rainbows and putting them on our Instagram account once I've got all
Ooh,
those
that'd be
photos.
fun. Actually
So
seeing them like
we'll
side by side.
actually
Yeah, I like
have
that.
something for a long time.
Lovely.
First time in a long time.
Everyone I talked to tonight, Tristan, will be dropped in the chat. So you'll have
with
them.
its name as well, if you could. If you've got a specific color name other than like the blue on that car. If you've got the actual, branding name for that color, that'd be awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
I will have to get better pictures and then I'll send them. But yeah, same.
Sweet. So yeah, folks, be sure to like, follow, share, post, DM, reach out how and when you can. Ask us questions to answer on air. Let us know what you like or dislike. Give us topic ideas. Send us, show us, tell us what your favorite paint swatches for certain colors are on cars. Send us a picture of those cars, why you think they look so good. Thank you in advance. Now, let's start building out our colors of the rainbow. Andrew, how do we want to kick this off?
I was just gonna say, should we go down the whole rainbow or go around with the colors individually? One person go down the whole rainbow or match red for red, orange for orange.
I like matching. Keep it
right.
Keep the comparison alive.
Fair
Keep
enough.
the comparison alive, and you with what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11 different color options. That's one person talking for a really long time.
That's true. Fair enough.
So,
although, yeah, running it down is probably pretty quick. Anyways, so red was another color like blue that I kind of struggled with because again, that's like your expanded color palette, right? Once you get black, white, silver, and blue, then you go to red. So there's a million reds, each of them redder than the last. And of course, red is such an iconic color because if you go back along the lineage of every car that's got a history, there's one that was like an iconic red. People have built whole brands around red. There's Corvette, there's Ferrari, there's Mustang, there's literally every car you could possibly name. And in the end, I settled on a color that even I didn't expect because I actually kind of hate it right now. But it's not actually the color's fault. I picked Soul Red Crystal, the Mazda red that they started putting on their cars when they started their like soft brand re-release. That kind of deep, very metallic, very glossy red.
I love Soul Red.
It's a great color, but the problem with Soul Red is that these cars, as the current Mazda generation of cars have been around for so long, I kind of hate seeing them now. But that's not the color's fault.
It's not the color's fault.
Then they can't be bothered to redesign. This is an epic color. This would look good on any car in history. This is literally a perfect red, and that's why I picked it.
This is a really good red. I can't believe this isn't, when I was looking around, this isn't something that even popped up. Maybe because it wasn't like red enough, if that makes sense.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
But, I mean, as soon as you said Soul Red, I'm like, fuck, yeah, that's right.
It's a great color.
It's a fantastic color. Their prototype in IMSA and that Soul Red was just,
yeah.
Mwah. Looks so good. Cadillac, the Cadillac Ganassi team kind of tried to copy it. They've got a very deep red Cadillac DPI right now, but it's just not the point. It's just not the same.
No.
It's just not the same. I love it.
Who's next?
Yeah,
Who's next?
I think it's a great. I'll go next because I think I actually have a connection here, kind of the way my brain works. So, I think so. My choice is what Mazda was trying to do with that red, basically. Except I think they succeeded a little more. Maybe because they put it on multiple generations of vehicles. So, what I'm looking at is Mars Red from VW, and that is the basically it's been on everything from the Beetle up to the Golf R and the Type 6 camper.
Sure.
So um it's you know, it's a very 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 red. um and I think that in my mind, red cars always, like, if I want a red car, it's like whatever you want to call it, fire engine, candy apple, like it's always gloss red.
Hmm.
And that was, at least, that's me, and that's why I picked this one.
Well, just
But yeah,
like a
it was on
red with
the
like very little fleck in it.
yeah, very little fleck, mostly gloss, super super glossy as long as it's been maintained.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been, Mark One GTI, Beetle, Golf R, the Scirocco. It was on, basically, if you can name an iconic VW car, it came in Mars Red, and Mars Red was exclusively a BMW, a VW thing, until Mercedes came along and made a version of Mars Red entirely unrelated to the VW Mars Red, and it sucked and actually generated a lawsuit.
Wow.
Really?
Because it peeled and faded and was awful. So definitely not that Mars Red when I say Mars Red. VW Mars Red, to be clear.
So the paint, the actual paint itself just chipped. So the color, I mean, it was so the VW sued Mercedes over the color.
No, nope. I would just, owners did, because it sucked so much.
Oh, okay.
It was like,
Like
oh,
the
hi,
paint
every
was
car.
actually poor.
Yeah, the paint was actually terrible. And no one has,
Got it.
really any kind of. Everybody can say this red looks like a red from Mars. That's hard to protect intellectually. So
It's actually more
I don't think there
orange.
was a. Yes, I know. But the what it boils down to is that it's hard to protect the idea of Mars being the red planet, Mars Red. So there was no lawsuit from Volkswagen, but there was a lawsuit from owners because they had cars that were painted terribly. So just want to clarify, not talking about the terrible Mercedes one, talking about the legendary Volkswagen one.
That's funny.
That's awesome. Well, as far as I know, mine didn't get any lawsuits. So I think mine is pretty good. And Andrew mentioned this right off the top. I think he teed it up perfectly with red. There are some brands out there who are just automatically identified with red. And I think obviously none more so than Ferrari. So
Mhm.
my favorite red is Rosso Corsa.
I mean,
You
what can you
can't.
say?
What can you say? Like the entire brand, the imagery of Ferrari, from their GT cars to their Formula One cars to every single street car to, I'm sure, whenever we see the damn SUV, whenever they decide to release that,
Oh,
there'll
yeah.
be yellows and there'll be silvers and there'll be blacks and there'll be, whatever else. But the vast majority of them are going to be Rosso Corsa. And
Yep.
I don't think you can beat it, especially part of this too. Just full disclosure, guys. I think I went opposite of Andrew, where he said he found colors that he liked, but not on cars that he liked.
Mhm.
I think a lot of this for me was how it looks on the car. So I'm trying to put it in the chat right now. It doesn't seem to be wanting to work. But
Well, that's all right. While you work on that, I'll move to orange.
yeah.
So this one's kind of a sad one for me because technically, I drive an orange car right now. But the problem with it is almost nobody, if I've tested this theory by trying to do store pickups. If I say that I drive an orange car, nobody will find it because it doesn't look orange unless it's parked next to a red car. At which point you realize that my car is not red, so it must be orange. Kind of maddening because Hyundai has a whole.
It's
there's a
orange by exclusion, not orange by
Exactly.
inclusion.
Exactly, and Hyundai has a whole slate of oranges, I just didn't get one of the good ones. But this is one that I definitely picked, Nick, in the way that you picked it, which is to say that I started from the point of view of McLaren Orange, because that, far beyond anything Lamborghini ever put out, far beyond even Fahrenheit Orange,
Mm-hmm.
I now think of McLaren and Orange at the same time. But where I started was with the color named McLaren Orange, which is kind of a classic. But in line with their F1 branding, McLaren has changed and made different oranges available on their cars. So they have one called Tarocco Orange that's just a bit deeper than McLaren Orange. It's a bit dustier. Not that it's got like a different, I think you would probably call it more saturated. And so Tarocco Orange, I think, is such a good color, and not just because of the car it's on. It's just a really, really good orange that makes me think of racing, makes me think of forbidden term on this podcast, Gulf liveries. It makes me think of speed, and Tarocco Orange is so damn good.
Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris look right at home in that car, in that color.
Yeah, exactly.
It pops. It really does
Oh,
pop
yeah.
off even the screen as I'm looking at it here. That is a really
It's
good
a great
orange.
color.
I thought you were going to say
as a fan of orange, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say papaya, because that's what people are calling it now.
Oh gosh, I this was part of it. The new orange that they have for this year specifically in F1 is something luminous papaya, which is also a very good color. But this is just slightly lighter, like a little brighter, I guess, not lighter, brighter, and just catches my eye more.
Oh, there's actually, I just found a picture. It's actually from McLaren Life. Must be a vlog. It's got like a view in a parking lot looking down at 3 different cars, and there's Volcano Orange, McLaren Orange, and Tarocco Orange.
That picture is exactly what sold me.
Yes, you can see the differences. Yeah, it's like man,
it's subtle. It's very subtle.
Doing this on an audio medium is so hard, but it's richer.
Yeah. It's really something.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Tristan, what about you? You are the orange
we
aficionado.
all know what I picked.
Yeah.
Just because we're talking about favorite, and that has visual and other implications as well. It's definitely Fahrenheit Orange, which was just stolen from the Lamborghini Orange at the time, and they put the name Fahrenheit on it. So it was the same one you'd end up getting on a bunch of Ferraris at the time as well, which was cool. It was like, hey, we bought them, and now we're going to put one of their most famous colors on a sport compact. I thought it was, first of all, an aggressive move from Volkswagen, and I loved it. And it's an interesting orange color, much like the more papaya orange that McLaren has. Like it almost feels like an organic color. A lot of oranges are shocking and just glare into your eyeballs, but this feels like you could find it on like some colorful tropical bird or the inside of a fruit.
Definitely bird, yeah, for sure.
And so I've always liked that color. Have since I first saw it, and that color works really well on the interior of the car, on all the highlights that it has that are that color. So it's been something I've wanted to own for a long time, and is definitely my favorite orange. Being the orange expert, I did have a runner-up that I was heavily considering, and it was the antithesis of this, that very much unnatural burn out your eyeballs orange that Dodge sold on their 1500 Rams for a while, because that is a good orange.
Yeah,
that is a
it never
orange.
floated to the top, so I don't remember the name, but that was heavily considered as well. But it's got to be Fahrenheit orange for me.
Well, I think this calls it bright orange. That can't be right.
Come on,
Dodge
wouldn't do that. They'd
Yeah.
call it like orange. You glad you didn't get pulled over?
Orange, you glad you bought an extra set of tires?
Okay, my fault. My fault. It's ignition orange. Is the name.
Okay.
Okay.
That is a bold orange from Dodge.
That's
too,
somehow
you're right.
better. At least the name is.
Yeah, it's slightly better. What about you, Nick?
I am very much along the same lines as Tristan when it comes to orange. And when you from the lens of sentimental value as well. This shade of orange is found on my favorite sports car line up until the past couple of years. The name of this orange represents one of our first, I think maybe the first traveling IMSA race we ever did, Tristan. And also, I think
Yeah, it was first or second, but yeah.
Yeah, and also just by chance, it's very, very close in shade to our logo's orange. So
Dun, dun,
my
dun.
pick is Sebring orange, which is found on the Corvette line.
Mm-hmm.
Love that orange.
That's
that's a very, very good orange.
Look at the range on orange, by the way.
Yeah, just the three that we dropped in the chat.
Yeah, and there's more, and like that the McLaren picture you mentioned, like that was 2 more than the 3 we've put in this chat, and those are different from these. And
I'm sure if we threw the
you think it just sounds cheesy, like you think colors are colors until you look at all of them next to each other, and you're like, right, that's why they can make that many crayons.
It's because when you think of cars, you just think of silver, and I mean, we will do like a silver gray kind of thing here. So I mean, there's big range there too, but it feels like every silver, every black, and every white is exactly the same.
But it's not.
It's not.
But yeah, the shades of orange so different, and I'm sure if we put that Ram up there too, it'd look completely different.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
now yellow was my easiest one by a country mile because there's only but one yellow for me. There's only but one yellow that I consider to be the way, the truth, and the light. Sunburst yellow Mercedes. Don't ask me questions. That's the end of it.
Sunburst yellow Mercedes. I'm sure when
He'll put it in the chat, I'm sure, right?
Don't worry about it. Specifically, sunburst yellow on a Mercedes SLK. Now, that is that is what I think of when I think of yellow, and it's like I don't think of anything else. I will never think of another yellow or another car. I will only ever think of this.
It looks really good on the AMGs also. By the way,
it's a great color in general, but it's just one of those fits that's like so seared into my brain. I think I've only ever seen maybe one of these in real life, but this was an available color in a Need for Speed game for the SLK, and so clearly it's just game over. Not a pun, not a game pun.
but it was a little
inadvertent.
This does appear in a lot of video games, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
My yellow was actually very similar in hue. Again, we will see that there are different yellows, but I chose flare yellow from the Lexus LC500. It was a limited edition run on the Inspiration series.
Ooh, well, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a nice one too.
Sorry, this stupid WebP photo thing is screwing me over right now. I just gotta resave this photo.
But yeah, so that's, like I said, it's a little more subdued than your average yellow, but it's not metallic enough to be gold. And so I had never really thought about yellow cars before. And I'm sorry, Brenna, if you listen, I didn't choose either of the colors of your cars. because she is a yellow car fan, but I think she will agree that
Yes.
this is a hell of a yellow. So, you know, it's it's for me, it was the fact that it wasn't. And I know it's probably all the pictures I found of it are because it's under the crazy auto show lighting.
Yep.
Because then I couldn't find a picture of one actually on the road, of course. But it's got a lot of different layers to it based on what it's reflecting. It's very very reflective, and it's like three shades of yellow in one when you've got the bright lights on it. And I was very very taken with yellow. I don't generally choose yellow cars for myself, but that one's very cool to me.
I was just gonna say, I'm looking at like the top row of pictures on Google. There's 6 of them, and there's probably of the supposedly the same car, and it looks like there's 4 different shades of yellow.
Yeah,
And that has to do with how photographers color grade their photos and everything too.
but
So,
like
but
it is
yeah.
very versatile.
Even within one photo, it's like the front part of the car looks like one color yellow, the back looks like a different one, and there's like a weird stripe down the middle of a different yellow because it's reflecting white. It's like lots of different colors going on.
Right. For me, I think I would say the yellow is the one where I strayed kind of the furthest off the path, and away from what you would think of as like your normal RYB like color, primary color. So my first thought was obviously the yellow bird from, how do you pronounce it? Roof.
RUF.
RUF.
I don't know if you're supposed to pronounce it or not.
It actually is. It actually is a word. You say you don't say the letters. You say it's either roof, rough, whatever. But it is pronounced, not spelled.
Yeah, the souped up Porsches from Gran Turismo. That was my first choice. But then I stumbled upon one. The name is weird, which caught my attention. War Bonnet Yellow. And this coincidentally happened to be on a Corvette. It could have been on any car. So don't think of it that way, Andrew. But this is a.
Okay, fine.
So this is, I guess, it's weird. I'm going to put it in the chat now so you guys can see it. But it's like a combination of like, you can see almost like the old gold, like a Notre Dame helmet, but also kind of like mustard mix in as well. It's super rich. And I just love it. Like, and it's different enough as a yellow. It's almost gold, but it's not quite. I just think it looks fantastic.
It's actually, well, that's in the Corvettes in the exterior lighting, the LCs in the interior lighting. They're surprisingly similar.
Yeah, it's shockingly close. It's clearly different, but shockingly close.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I was absolutely horrified when you didn't just go with whatever the yellow du jour is on the Corvette right there, Nick.
Corvette Racing Yellow, whatever it might be this week.
Is that the name of the color?
I don't know. That's why I said it that way.
It's either Corvette Racing Yellow or like Competition Yellow, I think is the official name.
Oh, sure.
But no, I wasn't going to go with that. And like I said, this just happened. Like, I looked around and like Corvette from 1969 to 72 was the only time it really appeared.
Sure.
But I swear to God, it has nothing to do with the car. I just think that yellow looks fantastic.
It is Corvette Racing Yellow currently, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yellow. Tons of range in yellow. You love to see it.
I think we'll find there's a ton of range in all of these. Like I said, you never think about it because you're like, that car's blue. And it's like, and it doesn't really think about, well, yeah, but it's different than that other blue car.
That's
and
true.
When,
and
when
we
you
are,
when you put a critical eye to it, it's actually very interesting.
And so far, I mean, except for, well, not everything. It has been more prejudiced towards exotics.
Yeah, they're more likely to have wild colors on them too. So
that's true. Green. I'm not happy with my green pick anymore because green is really, really tough. Simply because the range for green is not only from bright to dark, but it also involves so many different tones. Like there's just infinite different saturations, and dark green is so emblematic of British racing green, but it's also like a very earthy color. And then you get your neons way up at the bright end of the spectrum, almost yellow. And so what I have here for my current pick is striker green from Vipers. And I like it. It's a great color. It's almost electric green. It's almost neon green, highly, highly metallic paint that really, really looks dark and deep indoors and kind of pales out and smooths out in the sun. But now I'm kind of wishing I almost would have gone with that darker green. I'll stick with this for now. This is a really, really good color. It's just green is so hard because I like so many different colors across the entire range of green.
This looks like it makes it look like a brushed aluminum lime.
Yes, exactly.
And it's actually really, really, really cool.
It is. It's just so hard because then I think of all the dark green. I mean, I even like I forget the name of it. Chevy had a dark green when I want to say it's when they first brought out the Colorados. Like it was so dark, it was almost black. That's a good color.
That's a good color.
So many greens.
But I think that almost falls into like a boring green. Like just another boring, almost neutral car color. Like we're going to give it a little bit of green, but it's basically black.
We got two other greens to go here, so let's see what we get.
No, yours isn't boring.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, no, I know what you're saying.
The striker green, yeah.
The Colorado green.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will drop the... Let's see. Drop the third Corvette into the chat. So this is called Lime Rock Green.
Yes.
And it checks a lot of boxes. It's, depending on the lighting, very nearly the color of my dad's old car. It's very nearly British Racing Green.
Green.
It's a very good, strong green without being a neon green. It's a true dark green. And I was scrolling through because I was trying to avoid the obvious. Like I could just drop a picture of my dad's old car in here and be like, "Here, that's my favorite one," because or you guys would not be surprised if I put actual British Racing Green in here.
Of course,
Lotus has that green color, and this is kind of related to all of them, depending on your bias. Anybody could make a mistake and go, "Oh, he's got a British Racing Green Corvette. He's got it's like
right.
You could make a mistake in a lot of directions, and I find that really interesting. And even where it's dark, it almost looks, Andrew, like you're saying, it almost looks black.
Yeah.
If there's not a lot of light on it, it actually looks black. So, I found that a very interesting color. And Nick, much like Sebring Orange, we have not been to Lime Rock, but I like colors named after racetracks. It's a little personal bias I have.
That's important.
So Lime Rock Green on the Corvette.
How many listeners out there would have thought that one of us would have picked British Racing Green? Come on.
I mean,
be honest. You'd
clearly.
think, but it's not going to happen because
interesting.
That's not it.
Because I've said this to you guys on the show before. I've said it to you not on this show before. It is Energy Green, found in the Honda Civic.
Yeah.
The end of story. I have nothing left to say. Look up Energy Green or wait for Tristan to put these up on Insta and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Dayglow is what it is. A Dayglow car.
It's highlighter.
It's highlighter. It's safety vest green.
I mean, it is such a good color.
Color almost not reproducible by cameras and computer screens.
True, very true.
One of the very few non-exotic cars to get an exotic car color. Like you'd expect to find this. You'd probably do a shade of it on a Lamborghini or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Hurricanes come in a color very similar to that.
True.
Yep.
True.
But
Yeah, great
nothing
color.
beats the energy green Civic.
That's why green's hard. All these colors are amazing. It has the blue problem. Speaking of the blue problem, we need an authoritative. Are we doing one blue, or are we doing a blue and an indigo, a light
I
and a
did
dark?
both. So
I did
one
both as
blue.
well.
So I only did one, so I'll defer to you guys on the indigo part.
I'm fine to go with just one.
It's up to you.
but I found such a good indigo.
Do it.
All right,
Do
if
it.
you want to do it, we can. We'll start with light blue, see how we feel. Blue, as it's called in the rainbow.
So yeah, go. You're up, Andrew.
All right. The light blue, super easy. I've talked about this a million times in this podcast because it is far and away my favorite blue, to the point where it actually makes me want a 911 Miami blue. Straightforward.
Yep. So the good part is I did insist on doing indigo because I also picked Miami blue. We can be done.
Good.
So
Yeah.
We'll move through that real quick. Good job, guys.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, like, to me, it checks a lot of boxes. I think that's my criteria. It's like, is it? First of all, I love it matches the name. Like,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is something you would find on buildings and people and cars in Miami. But it's also like, it could be sky blue, it could be robin's egg blue, it could be like all these other ones, but it's not. And I like that it's just that little bit different. I did have a backup blue, Galaxy Blue Metallic on the Audi RS and S SUV line. So if we want to have two different colors in our rainbows, I can be my backup. So it's mica-y and flecky and very interesting. But
If Miami,
Miami
blue
blue
is the best blue.
was my choice. So
Yeah. What can you do? Other blues
literally
can
says
suck.
backup Galaxy Blue Metallic.
That's funny. I
In
mean,
my notes.
So Nick, you would pick Miami as well, yeah?
If we're going like the light blue, yeah. I mean, I did see, surprisingly, and maybe this is just because of the whole management thing I haven't been able to shake. There were a couple light blues on BMW that looked really, really good. I think one was called like Mexico blue or something like that.
So somebody help this man.
He can't be helped.
But I didn't pick the light blue. I went for a more blue.
All right, so we can run through that. Well, all right, so we got the same light blue here. My dark blue pick, my indigo pick, will definitely surprise some people because, again, this is a really hard color. There are so many dark blues, and typically you don't get a light blue in a car. But I also picked another Porsche color because it struck me in an interesting way. I don't know why. I saw this color and I was like, oh, hey, that looks like jeans. I really like that. And it's a color that hasn't been used so often, but when it does, it kind of shows up on every car. It's a color that's just simply called dark blue metallic. And it's been on the full Porsche line at this point. 911, Boxster, Cayman, Panamera, all of them. And it just kind of looks like jeans, but that's kind of cool.
Dark blue metallic on Porsche,
Yeah.
huh? Blue metallic Porsche.
Even though the color is named metallic, it was even on the Spider. It just, I don't know what it is. It almost has, even though it is high gloss and is metallic, it almost has like a flavor of matte to it in areas that are not directly in bright light. It's a really kind of interesting color. And again, Porsche comes in so many boring colors that when you see one that's not in a boring color, it just like shocks me. It's like, whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, don't they have like 19 shades of silver?
That's a good color.
Yeah, you'd think, right? Well, of course, once you get into like the custom Porsche price range, then I think you can just pick your color on the slider and they'll just do that.
Yes.
But typically, yeah, you get white and you get black and you get silver and blah.
Yeah, that's a pretty color. Dark blue metallic. You're right. It looks matte when there's no direct light.
Yeah, it's really kind of interesting.
And So for me, I had to because I always had to get blue jeans were dyed with indigo, and I was like, oh, blue jeans is the color that I'm looking for. Um, but I was like,
Yeah.
well, let's look up indigo, and it's like there was this like poetic description of like the night sky just after twilight, where it's not pitch black, but it's this super deep blue. And I was like, wow, I'm never gonna find a car that looks like that. And then I found this, which is apparently
What's gonna happen?
a production color
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
for mid '60s Mustangs, and it is very nearly the same name. It is deep blue metallic,
Sure.
which bullshit. That's indigo.
That is a nice color. That is real good.
the white
Yeah, like
accents on the picture you sent too with
Oh,
with the
yeah.
racing stripe just makes it pop even more.
exactly, and it's one of those that kind of like the greens and stuff we described earlier. Like it could definitely be black at night. It'd be very,
sure.
very hard to tell that it's blue. It is dark, dark, dark blue.
Yeah,
that's
that looks
real nice.
awesome. My blue, it took me a minute to kind of land here, but when I send the picture out, you guys will see. I think hopefully see why I landed on it, because it looks just stunning to me. So blue is tough because there's a lot of blues as we we're going through here that work really well. So for me, my first thought was just that factory Ford Performance blue. It's got that little bit of silver in it.
Sure.
That looks really, really strong. And then I could have been a homer and just gone with Elkhart Lake blue.
Yep. I thought someone was gonna do that.
Yep,
Because
I considered it.
I considered it too, because
Good
not
call.
only is it the home track, but it is a really, really good blue. It looks very, very nice. But I found one called Opaque Blue, and I feel like a lot of this has to do with the material that it sits on, because it's found on the Pagani Zonda,
Oh, geez.
and the entire body is a carbon weave, and it's not like paint. What they use is an opaque lacquer, so you can actually see the weave texture behind it. So you've got this real deep, dark, opaque blue that you can see the weave behind it, and oh my god, does it just look incredible!
That is so cool.
Oh my god, does it look good! Like, you may have to zoom in the picture from what I sent in the chat, but when you zoom in and you just see that detail, holy shit, does that look good?
Yeah, that's good. Again,
That
it has
that's good.
that contrast, that depth of color when light's on it and when light is off it. I guess that we're learning that's like an important hallmark of blue specifically. It has to have some variation, it has to have some depth and some tone.
Yes. God, that looks good. I'm just going to leave that picture open for a minute. You guys keep talking.
It looks really, really good.
But the texture on it, though, because of the weave, like, it looks grittier for some, but it's pretty at the same time.
Because I think I don't know a ton about how carbon fiber is made, but I think it's just the fact that it's running in two different directions. It gives you a different optical.
Yeah, and that makes it look like two different blues.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they took two different kinds of blue fiber and wove them together. It's cool,
Like a pinstripe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
like a picnic basket.
Purple, my personal favorite color. I finally found, after all this time, the perfect purple, because purple
Better not
doesn't
steal
have
mine.
You better not
doesn't
steal
have
mine.
so many tones, but it has kind of like use cases, if that makes sense. There's like the 90s jewel tone, which I hate, and there's sort of like the royal purple, and then there's like deeper purples. But there is a company out there finally bold enough to make the best purple. This is not a favorite, the best purple in existence, the most perfect color. I would have everything in my life in this color. Bentley Azure Purple. It's so
Ooh.
goddamn royal and rich, and it's
Oh,
plum,
and
and
You
it's
come across that.
it's everything. It's everything. It's my favorite color of all time.
Whoa. That is royal purple. Like it looks like a royal purple bottle.
Uh-huh.
Dang. That's good. I like that.
I love it.
Yep, that's a good.
Throw mine away. I want that now.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to share mine either.
Let's hear it. Come on, we got to hear them.
I will. I will
No.
share it. I just now it seems inadequate. But the name is right on the nose,
Sure.
which definitely helps. Considering that technically, as we all know, the rainbow doesn't have purple; it's got violet.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And this is Ultraviolet by Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's good.
And
That's
it's a good one.
too.
It's I think a little better than the purple that Dodge is putting on stuff.
Yes.
Just a little bit similar idea, a little bit more complicated. And man, it looks excellent in its Lakers uniform with those yellow calipers. Yeller calipers. I tried to put those two words together and bad things happen.
I wish you would have just ran
calipers.
with it.
Yep. Nope. I'm not like that. I gotta fix
Just
my mistakes.
Own it.
Yeller calipers. But
that is
yellow,
right.
yellow and purple have always looked good together, and that purple looks good on its own. It looks excellent on the car picture that I posted. It's a GT3 RS with yellow calipers, and man, I loved it. I was like, I would buy that car right away. But then I saw the Bentley and was like, but can I get it in that color instead?
Yeah, that's a color. That's a color, boys.
Yeah, Andrew wins this round.
Yeah, 100%.
100% wins this round. I stayed in the Porsche family as well for my purple. I went lighter though. This is Viola Purple Metallic, also found on the 911 range, and I don't know why it's not sharing now. What the heck?
That's right, but it might take a second to load.
But very appropriate because they're both, one is literally ultraviolet, one is the Latin for violet, Viola.
Oh yes.
So yeah,
very clever those Germans.
How about that?
Yes.
There it goes.
Ooh.
Now it's in the chat.
That's an interesting color.
I like that actually. That's like a flower color.
Yeah. Almost.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool.
But it's not Andrew's
Azure.
I mean,
and it changes too. Like
it does.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. That bumper does not look the same as the top of the car. Nope. And it's cool.
I've never seen that color before.
991 version of the 911s.
Yeah, sure.
It's where it's most commonly found.
Well, I'm sure if you were to look it up, I'm sure if you look that up, you will find some Porsche nerds very, very specific listings of what years this color was available on which model. Because
sure,
let me tell you, those guys have dictionaries for everything.
Yes, they do.
All right. Next, we'll go with black. And like I said, this one was super easy because it was top of mind. And it is, well, this color is not a color you see. This color is a lifestyle. This color is a luxury choice. And in fact, according to the manufacturer of this color, it doesn't have a name. It only has a theme. And it is the, not a lie, 100-pound paint application of signature black on the Rolls-Royce black badges.
Wow, it is a lifestyle.
The paint actually does weigh 100 pounds in the car. That is not an exaggeration. And it is, I mean, matte black. If we're just bringing it down for the plebes, it's just a matte black. I don't know. There's so my and I think I did it on this very podcast. My instinct, or at least on the Twitter account, when I heard about the black badge thing, was to relentlessly mock it because they were like, their tweets about it were, this is for the distinguishing Rolls-Royce customer, because their lead into this model was that you can now finally get a Rolls-Royce with a black grille. Yakety schmakety. And I'm
And
kind of like,
episode title.
this is for
Yakety
rappers.
Schmakety.
Like this is just for rappers. You know what I mean? Like, stop. Why are we doing this? But then when I actually looked at it, I thought, oh shit, Kanye was right. That looks sick as hell. An all matted out. Oh, I guess it was a Maybach, and he hates the Rolls Royce. But anyways, it looks really cool. And the fact that I mean, there are articles about this paint color. There are articles from the paint manufacturer. There are articles from Rolls-Royce itself. There are media outlets writing stories about this color and the 100 pounds of paint. Great. That's fine. I don't really care that much. It's just a really cool color. And I think black can be a little, it can be a little regular, can be a little boring. It's just one of the safest colors. And personally, I detest black cars now because I've owned one, and it is just punishment for choosing black. Your punishment is to never, ever again like the look of your car because it'll always look dirty. I don't know if this will have that problem. Presumably your porter would take care of it for you, but either way, that's
Or the paint.
It would always be clean.
Correct.
The paint self cleans. It's like the cameras with the film on the lens that they can just move.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So whatever this is, I'm sure it does have a proper name somewhere. I couldn't find it on the website. Signature Black for the black badge rollers.
All right. Good pull. What about you, Tristan?
All right, I've got I think black with one of the best names ever. And it is called Nero Noctis Black.
Ooh.
And it's Lamborghini. And man, it is just really, really black. It's like the best way I can describe it is just like short of something like Vanta Black, where it actually isn't a paint. It's it's actual structural things that absorb light. Again, if you this is in a unfortunately a white showroom, so it's not unlike the signature black where it's on the black background there. Mm-hmm. It doesn't show itself off quite as well. That didn't send. Anyway, sent as the word object. Anyway, I will get that. I will get that to you.
It's so black you can't even see it. You just see the word object.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's a fabulous name, Nero Noctis, and on top of that, it's on a bunch of different Lamborghinis now. But it started out on the Huracan, I believe. So it's it was just, to me, it was the most like stereotypical, like, this is super, it shows off all the shiny creases. Yeah. It's like the car looks like it has silver accents on it, but it doesn't.
Right.
So it's the kind of black that Batman would buy.
Does it come in black?
And yes, Nero Noctis is a great name. Anything that has to do with the night is a fabulous name for black. So
also a fabulous name if it hasn't been taken for a Swedish black metal band.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Like when is their new album coming out? Or debut album, maybe.
Sure.
Go to the Nero Noctis show when they come to the rave in Milwaukee. So this one for me was super hard because I like a lot of black cars, black paint. But I just picked one that I thought kind of looked the meanest, and to Tristan's point, the blackest. And this was a special edition Aston Martin, and it came in carbon black. And I really don't have any other sort of explanation for it other than the fact that it looks super black. It looks super mean. and it looks really, really badass. So it's hitting the chat right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
that's
she
it.
be.
There she be. Carbon
That's
black.
that is a black car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, we've all picked our blacks and all that stuff, but I can't help but feel slightly underwhelmed given the significant breadth of color we've seen and the significant marketing wank for all these 3 black cars.
And well, it's
Yeah,
not going to
it's
get any better
it's
going through white and silver, Andrew. Just
Listen, you don't. No.
eh,
Silver is going to be. You'll see. See.
silver. I think you'll be surprised.
Well, okay. You know what? We tried. And I'm going to throw a curveball immediately for white by picking a car that no one would expect in a color that no one would expect because it's not quite white. But it is the best white that I've found. And it's not white at all. It's cream. Way back in the day, Jaguar had a color for their E-Type just called cream. And it is probably, for my money, or for my eyes anyway, the best example of a cream colored car that I've ever seen, because you would never see this car and think of it as anything other than cream. It is a white car, but it's not a truly white car because it's a cream car. And I think that is such an accomplishment. And it's nothing, you don't ever see this. There are no cars this color anymore, not anywhere. And it's beautiful. It's so elegant. And I hate when people say that about the E-Type, because what the hell does that mean in the context? Like it was, not refined at all. But there's something about this color that is elegant, and I love it.
If they didn't do this, they missed a real marketing opportunity in the day to send one to Eric Clapton. Cream.
I mean, I couldn't.
The band
No,
Cream.
I got
No.
you. No,
Okay.
I got you.
He gets it. He
I
gets
got
it.
I don't know if they did. I couldn't tell you.
It does look beautiful though. It doesn't have a whole lot of gloss on it though. Very
No.
like
It's
a matte.
low gloss color.
Yeah. Very, very nice. What'd you pick, Tristan?
So I picked because in my mind, I didn't go out and choose a cream car when we were asking for white.
Look at the hate. Look at the hate immediately for class.
Subtle hate. But the problem with that is then you'll be vindicated in a moment. Is that by definition white is white, like paint colors in houses will say there's like different colors of white, but what they're really doing is adding more or less blue, whatever else. Like if you're looking for white, it's just white. Now, so for me, this was probably just after brown because I like all of the whites, but they're also all the same. I do think that with the difference you get with whites is how you treat it afterwards and what you pair it with. So that makes the white do its thing. So I chose the white that they used on the Audi R8 Spider. So that's again, I don't know if you guys even need a picture or not, but um, that's it. But again, paired with the little stubby side blade and the red calipers, um, I think they really made the most of this. I think people are more like, obviously a lot of people pair black with white, but I think with the side blade, it's more obvious and it brings out the white more. You'll often see black trim and whatever else, but just that little extra step really makes the white pop. But the white itself is just white, so it's more about the car and how it's presented than the color itself, because that's basically all kind of by definition going to be the same thing. So in my mind, this one was tough, but at least I had an answer and I found a white car that I really liked. um it was between this and the white that Volvo used on their like first generation Polestar, the gas Polestar. That was also very close.
Sounds like cream jealousy to me.
But you're right, Tristan. The accents kind of make it what it is, but it's white.
And what it is white.
And what it is white. So I went more down the same road as Andrew did, and I chose something that's not quite white, but it's very close.
Man of justice.
And it's more matte finish.
Ooh.
And it's also got a really cool name. It's got a name that kind of sounds like it could be like a really cheap rail vodka. This is Siberian Ice.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, you weren't lying.
Yeah, that's really what it sounds like.
Found on your modern day Genesis line, and it's hitting the chat right now.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Now, in that picture, it almost looks gray.
True.
So it's comes off a little bit darker, but if you Google that color, it is very, very close to a white. It's kind of between Andrew's cream and Tristan's full white R8.
Don't talk about my cream.
Don't talk about my full R8.
Yikes.
Doesn't work. It's not the same.
Yes, Siberian Ice is my favorite. We'll call it white. That I was able to find.
Siberian ice malt beverage.
Yeah,
but all right. So here's something interesting. All right. Siberian Ice. We're gonna deal with that because we'll go into silver and gray next, and the color that I'm gonna pick is a color that we saw live at Road America on the Elantra N line. And it made me really pissed off because I like the color so much more than the color I have on my car. And I'm mad that I didn't wait so I could get this color instead of the one that I got, the stupid not orange.
Not orange?
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Like was, not was. But now that Nick has put that in the chat, this color is a little bit sus because it's not Siberian Ice. It's a color called Cyber Gray.
Okay.
But tell me that this is not the same color.
It just might be the angle from my photo too. Damn, that's close.
I don't know. That's really close.
Really close. That's really close. That's really close. This is on an overcast day. Yours is on a sunny day, Nick. That might be the same color.
Maybe. I think it does look really good on that N line though. Just with the aggressive grill and the red trim. Almost, it's almost like Tristan's white. The contrast kind of makes it what it is.
Yep.
But that
actually,
looks really,
if I had
really
to guess
good.
the difference between these two, I would think the Genesis probably has a fleck. I know that this cyber gray color has zero fleck at all, and Hyundai has done this in the past. They've had like a very light gray with zero fleck, and I've always loved them regardless of the tone. And this is just another one. I love it.
This looks really, really cool. That's a great picture. Holy shit.
That might be the same color. Anyways, what?
It's very close.
In a different color. Who's got a different color?
Go ahead, Tristan. Surprise no one with your gray.
Be nice to him. He's sticking to his guns.
That's fine. No, it's a good color.
Nick,
I'm not going to disagree with him. I just know
Nick,
what he's going to pick.
You don't know shit about shit. You ready?
Oh!
because it was gray/silver is how it was pitched.
Correct.
I found a cool silver that is also kind of gray and also kind of not.
But you should pick the color. You don't
giant
pick a color
picture, to
prove Nick wrong, or maybe
hold on.
That would be funny.
Oh,
needs to be clicked on to be seen.
That is a silver gray white.
I'm not lying. And and Volvo calls it. So Andrew, you will probably die laughing about this because what country does Volvo come from?
uh, China now, but
Right.
isn't the namesake Swedish?
Well, yes, not nominally.
Yeah.
Nominally, they are Swedish.
Yeah.
Um, and also another famous Swedish brand,
Ah.
IKEA.
Oh.
They call this color birch light.
Oh God, do they really? Why?
Yeah.
Why? The Swedes.
And it was like just the the description for birch light is like, a silvery metallic blonde blah blah blah, like just
Blonde.
immensely flowery language. But the little radio button that they had to push to select this and put it on the car was almost a champagne color.
See, that
Which makes
that
me
is
think
significantly more interesting.
Which makes me think that the color we're seeing here is very much influenced by the kind of obviously artificial white showroom behind it. And
Mhm.
if you do in fact, look at these cars out in the wild, there are pictures where they look gray, pictures where they look white, pictures where they look silver, and even some, depending on it, where they almost look blue. Um,
Ooh,
and it's
geez.
just a very interesting color. Um, and yeah, everybody thought I was gonna pick Aviator Gray or Nardo Gray or whatever else, be- because honestly, it has a lot of the same characteristics. The whole point of that was it was like an military airplane gray color, and those are very specifically supposed to be kind of gray blue. It's supposed to be hard to determine what they are. It's supposed to blend in with every sky, and that was the story there. But this one, we talk about how boring silver cars are, and I was struck by what an interesting color this was, so I couldn't pass up bringing it up.
That's fair. This is a quality color overall, I would say.
Yeah, it's a good one. It is a good one. Except for the name. But
Doesn't have
Tristan,
any
if you're
I love the name.
Tristan, if you're not going to bring it up, then I will.
Yeah. There you go.
Nardo Gray.
Justice.
There
for
it
the
is.
Nard.
Military
So a color
grade
put
gray.
on basically every car ever, not even just Audis and Volkswagens. Like if you search for Nardo Gray, pictures of Nardo Gray, you'll find them on everything from Miatas to 911s to like everybody has taken the color code for Nardo Gray and put it on their car. It's
Kia's
crazy.
call it
Really
something
is.
else. I think Kia calls it Wolf Gray when it goes on the
Yes.
Stinger or the K5. But yeah, it's a fantastic gray, military grade battleship gray.
I think it is technically the color of the GT2 RS as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yes. Yep.
the only good
You know what
one,
I almost went with here? Andrew, you remember the silver on my Trailblazer? With that
I do.
light
What was the name
hint-
of that?
I don't even know the name of it, but it had that light, really barely noticeable hint of like blue undertone on it.
That was a great color as well.
That was a great silver, but Nardo Gray, man, you can't escape it.
No one went that dark either. Like there's no super dark tone here, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like no one went with a slate.
Yeah, no slates, no charcoals. Name another dark
There's
gray.
another
That's about it.
That's about it.
Meteorite.
Yeah, there you go. No meteorite, no deep space.
All right.
Porsche, like a Porsche seal gray metallic.
The seal noise.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep, that happened.
Exactly.
All right, what do we got? A brownish. We need an
Yeah,
earth
we gotta.
tone.
This is our last one. We gotta
Need an
end
earth tone.
with.
And this is one that's super easy for me because it's a color that I have loved on a car that I liked, and probably is the last car from this manufacturer that I've had even the merest passing respect for. Hate the name, love the color. From the BMW i8 E Copper.
You're gonna try to pitch that to me as brown?
Look at it in indoor light. It's brown.
That's the same color as your Hyundai right now.
No, heavens
Hey,
no.
you have a brown car.
You have a brown car,
Heavens
Andrew.
no. What is it? I'm trying to remember the name of I think it's Sunset Orange, something like that. It is not close.
That looks closer to like the Sebring orange than it does. It's like Sebring orange with more gloss in it. It's
Hold
not
on.
brown. Come on, man.
That is a brown car. And that's the color of my current car.
Okay, so yours is a little darker.
A little darker. Nonsense, sir.
A little darker,
That is
a little more red.
hooey and applesauce. BMW E Copper.
Whatever.
Let me show
Copper-
you.
Copper's not that color.
That's exactly
My
my point.
hair
Copper
is
is not
color.
the color.
No one says I have brown hair.
Maybe they should. So that's that contrast. This is the paint in a ice contrast, if you will, or on an overcast day. It's got range, is the point.
Okay, that one
It's
looks
got range. Like
This
a
one
different
looks a
color,
little
but
better.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
just not. It's the same color because it's BMW. They are very lazy, and they didn't make more than a couple colors for this car. That is the same color, is my point.
This one is definitely more believable.
And
More believable. You look
I'd
it up
say that's
yourself.
more of a bronze.
More of a bronze. All right, whatever you want to call
Looks
it.
more like a puma.
Your attempted shaming will not sway me from this course. This is the color. This is the brown of choice for discerning men of all ages.
Yep.
On a car they don't make
Sure.
anymore.
Well, I brought this. It's taupe.
That
If you're feeling generous, khaki.
Yeah, there you go. That's a khaki. That's a solid khaki.
And that fits with, I guess, the overall feel of this vehicle. You're going to take it off road and overlanding and all that kind of stuff. He's got
Exactly.
this on a Toyota.
Yes,
ladies and
there
gentlemen.
are several versions of this color on several off-road vehicles of many generations and many manufacturers. I believe both the Wrangler and the Gladiator, because they're the same thing, have
Correct.
this color. And
Yep.
You can find Land Rovers in this color. You can find Land Cruisers in this color. And that's it's all over off-road. For me, this is the best taupe sand beige khaki color, because it just screams off-road, which to me, I know maybe not to you guys, but to me is cool.
No, I can live with this. That's a good pick. I went. It's interesting that the final color, which we probably all thought, if you were to ask us in the beginning, would be one of our least interesting rounds. It's going to be very, very varied, as it were. Andrew, you may not have known me yet at this point in time, but Tristan, you remember the Bullet?
Yeah, I remember that car.
I do. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so that is my pick, purely for sentimental reasons. It is Champagne Pearl, found on the late 90s, early 2000s Chrysler LHSs, and among others, but I had an LHS.
There's a perhaps short of kicking it off with Soul Red Crystal, which was, on a Mazda, so you see it everywhere. This might be the most normal other color.
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure there are still cars
Normal.
painted in this exact color today.
Sure. I'm not saying it's extinct or anything. I'm just saying.
No, of course not. I'm just saying that's a rarity based on this list. We got nothing but Porsches and rollers and Ferraris and
Paganis,
McLarens,
Corvettes,
exotic cars from every country on the planet.
We do have a Civic
I
dropped
wonder
in
if
there.
I can find it quick.
What was
Yeah,
this you
and a Golf. I almost chose the color of my wife's car, actually, which I was trying to see if I can find it quick, even just on the internet. And because this is actually a decently interesting color as well. But I've always thought of as more of a gold. But once
Yeah,
you
I
put
would say
yours up
gold.
there, Nick, I was like, it's actually shockingly similar. It's like,
Oh, wow.
that's
Yeah.
the color of her car. And like, again, kind of like you, Andrew, like if she puts brown, no one finds it. If she puts gold, no one finds it. Like,
Yeah.
it does, it kind of defies description a little bit. So it's an interesting color as well. So not my favorite compared to like the khaki, but just talking about interesting colors, it's an interesting color for sure.
That's fun. This is a fun scroll.
This is really cool.
Yeah, all the way back to the top. Wee.
This is a good one. So as we man, this has been our longest episode maybe of the season. So we probably got to get out of here, but does anybody have like a favorite either of the entire list or just like your own, like which of your own colors was like you like best?
That's tough. There have been so many colors I've discovered through this that have just stuck out with me. I mean, the azure purple is literally, I mean, honestly, paint anything in my life that color, that would be perfect. Shockingly huge fan of the dark blue metallic. And Tristan, that was it deep blue metallic that you found that
deep blue metallic. Yep.
Yeah. That's really, really good. Immensely disappointed that there's so much marketing bullshit over all these blacks and they look exactly the same.
Although
Tristan LC yellow I forgot about.
Tristan's black Nero Noctis is the best name of the group.
But by far and away,
the entire episode.
But that does feed into the aforementioned marketing bullshit, though, right?
Absolutely.
It's like you couldn't have that name Nero Noctis on, for instance, Jessica's car.
No.
That has to go on an Italian car at the very least.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. For me, the surprisingly pleasing color that I had never seen before. I don't know if it's my favorite or not. That I think it'd take a lot more time for me to figure that out. But the one that I saw it and went, wow, yeah, that's actually a color I've never seen before, and I love it. Nick, your Viola purple metallic 911.
That's real good.
I loved that. It's like you said, Nick, Andrew. I think paint everything in my life that color.
For me, out of the colors, out of just my own selection, I feel like just because it's maybe my deepest pull, I really, really do like that war bonnet yellow.
Sure.
But of the entire group, it's either Andrew. It's probably a tie between two of Andrew's, actually. The azure purple, or maybe it's just the way that image is with that Elantra. But that looks so badass.
That's cyber gray.
That's cyber gray.
Yeah, it does look really good.
I forgot to name it there.
Both of those are really, really awesome.
Doesn't that car, that Elantra just looks, that Elantra N looks so fucking good.
I was remarkably pleased that I found a color that I liked as much as I'd like that green on a Corvette. I generally
Yes.
don't.
Yeah, you don't often see green Corvettes.
I'm not as interested in their colors. Like they tend to be pretty primary colors, unless you go back a little bit, and those are kind of all to me like colors very much associated with that time. And this is like you could imagine seeing this color on a lot of different Corvettes through the years, and I'm surprised it hasn't been. You know, one of those things.
Yeah, for sure.
So
awesome.
Well, all right, we made it through the extended rainbow.
Yeah, that's awesome. This was a really fun episode.
That was fun.
This was a great idea. Whoever
Some
came up
classic
with this,
content.
I forget who it was, but whoever came up with it,
remember.
kudos. And yeah, listeners, we understand that something like this is very tough on an audio show. So hopefully you Googled along, followed along if you weren't driving, and if not, we will post the pictures of all these colors in due time.
Exactly. That's why you follow us. That's why you go to the Facebook. That's why you go. This is very visual. We'll have pictures. We can post them everywhere. By the way, I actually did find the Viola Metallic listing from the Porsche nerd who put together the specific years and color codes.
Of course.
But yeah, this is the reason why you follow us and find the socials and go there to do all that good stuff and see all of these pictures.
Yep, absolutely. But you're not going to be able to do that unless we let you go. So, thanks for sticking with us today. We appreciate you listening, but we don't want you just to listen. We already told you how to get in touch with us on socials. Hey, while you're listening on insert platform name here, leave us a review, preferably a good one, and or hit that subscribe button. It's free, and you'll get notified of any new content that we put out for you. If you're really into what we're doing and would like to support us monetarily, you can do that as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have two options for that. You can go to patreon.com/checkenginepodcast or hit the support button on our homepage at anchor.fm/checkenginepodcast. Every single cent pledged is put toward either making this podcast a better experience for you, the listener, or into the kitty so we can buy one of these cars in one of these cool colors.
All of them. Everything in purple.
All of the Azure Purple Bentley. Hashtag fund Andrews Bentley.
Color.
So, but for real, none of it goes back into our personal pockets. It goes towards the show. So thank you in advance for that. Who or what are we shouting out before we finally turn the microphones off for this week?
Well, see, this could have been you guys. This could have been your time to shine, but you refused to help me with either of my very interesting and incredibly normal projects.
I'm okay if I don't get thanked for that.
Yeah, I don't like being thanked for being an enabler. So
I will sleep just fine tonight. Thank you, Andrew.
Very normal. No, I would like to thank the Milwaukee County Zoo because we took the baby to the zoo for the first time. And
how'd you like it?
I mean, she loved the cows. She loved the fish, all the aquarium stuff, anything in a tank, anything underwater, the seals. Loved that. But yeah, I mean, the zoo, it's an interesting place, right? Because you start going there literally as a baby, and it's not less fun when you go there as the parent. And I can't imagine every zoo's like that. I would imagine that there probably are some zoos that kind of fall off a bit, but Milwaukee is just great. And it's been kept updated, and there's new stuff everywhere. The old stuff is still just like you remember it, and it's just they do a really, really good job.
That is an awesome shout out there. Unexpected. Tristan?
yeah, I would like to thank you guys. I know we do this occasionally. We've had the new and improved Dudley House recording studio in play now for 3 or 4 weeks, and we have been unable to record in person due to various exposures to various illnesses, both COVID and non-COVID. across the board, but I know that at least 2 of the last 3 have come from my side of things. So I know we're all anxious to get back together, and we want to use this space, and we haven't been able to. So meeting me here on Zencaster instead of just throwing up your hands and saying, "I'm never recording again." I want to do it. I want to do it in person. So
Sorry, next week. Next week.
So patience. Knock on this lovely wood table. Next week we will all be together again. So
Seems like we've been saying next week for over 2 years, but
this time next
but
week.
this time we don't stop believing here.
That's right.
So we are recording this leading up to Memorial Day, and I know I say this every year, but I do want to take a chance to shout out all of those past, present, and future military members and their families for sacrifices that they make. It has nothing to do with being pro-war. I don't think anyone's pro that. Well, maybe some people, but not me. It doesn't have to do with what side of the political spectrum you fall on. They sacrifice a great deal to give us the chance to do things like record this podcast as a great hobby of ours and a great passion project. So, as always, immense gratitude and love to all the branches of the armed forces. And as always, thank you, listeners, for your continued support. We love hearing from you. We love recording this for you, and we can't wait to speak to you again. Until we do, take care.